The truth about single moms. Well, I got a couple stories to tell you guys. Before that, just wanted to show you a little bit about some really nice, beautiful, one thing about Seattle, we have beautiful, beautiful nights in the summer, in the late spring and summer. That's the moon up there. You can't really see it. Yeah, this phone sucks. I wish it was better, but we have really beautiful sunsets and beautiful dusk. Anyway, so now that that's over with, I want to talk about single moms. Like I said, I have a few stories to tell you guys. I've had a lot of experience with single moms. And then I'm going to talk about how men should have better self-esteem, better choices, make better choices as men. And how that ties into the single mom issue. So it is an issue. We do have an issue with single moms because thanks to feminism, right? Thanks to second wave feminism in the 1970s, the whole stigma behind, sleeping around got eradicated in our country, in the U.S. And I think Britain kind of followed suit, the U.K. And I don't know a whole lot of history about Australia, but most of the other countries in the world, from my knowledge, are pretty traditional, right? The man works, the woman stays at home, cooks, or, raises the kids. Most, countries around the world are like that. But the U.S., because, second wave feminism, we have this, women's lib movement, women's liberation movement. Like, what were they being liberated from, right? Oh, the men took care of them and gave them housing, right? They're being liberated from being housewives. Okay, right? Liberated from the kitchen, right? Oh, that's such a demeaning thing. You got to cook meals for your husband as he works for your housing, as he works to take care of you and your kids. You got to cook meals for your husband. Oh, you poor thing. You're so oppressed. He pays your rent as you raise the kids that he gave you, and he's paying for them, basically. He's basically paying for your life. You poor thing, right? That's second wave feminism, boys. That's second wave feminism. So that happened, right? We don't want to be oppressed anymore by the evil patriarchy, by these men who want to pay our bills and take care of our kids, right? So now you get to do it for yourself. Now you get to work and take care of the kids. Oh, what a good deal feminism was for you ladies, right? Now you get to go work. So the hilarity in that and the irony in that is that it goes against female nature. Female nature wants kids. Okay? And guess what else female nature wants? It wants a man to be a strong provider. Sorry, that's biology. So, idiotic feminism comes in. Evil, subversive, divisive feminism, which if you really study is a component of communism, right? If you really do your research, figure out that it is a divisive element implemented into our society on purpose, right? To destroy the nuclear family. But that's another video. I don't really talk about conspiracy theories, but you can do your own research and figure that out. Divorce doubled from 1960 to 1970. It went from maybe 39%. No, I think it was 29%. So basically about 30% marriages ended in divorce by the year 1960. And by the time that decade was over in 1970, it was 59%. 59% by the year 1970, and it hasn't really dropped since. It's been about 60% of marriages end in divorce for about 40 years now, since the 1970s. It's just facts. You can Google it. It's just facts. So something there didn't work, right? So, what do we have? We have a culture that accepts single moms, culture that, is fine with single parenthood, or forced into it, either one. When you have a scenario where people are out, sleeping around, what do you get? You get the results of that, which is kids out of wedlock oftentimes. Of course, yeah, you can be smart. You can, wear a rubber. You can get on birth control. But, people are dumb, particularly young people. They're dumb. They don't know how to protect themselves. Or they just don't care. I don't know what the hell, right? I mean, with the amount of abortions that we have, it's pretty clear that people are not being safe, okay, not using protection, probably not even pulling out, which is really stupid. Like, at least pull out, right? But even if you don't pull out, it's still, fairly possible to get the woman pregnant. So we got a whole culture that's okay with loose sex, doesn't even call it immoral, right? Doesn't even know that it's immoral, doesn't even consider immorality valid in our society, doesn't even consider the dangers of it, not to mention the STDs, etc., right? Okay, so we got a whole generation of that from the 1970s, from the 1970s, right? And so this leads me into my first story, which is my experience with single moms. So my parents separated when I was 12. But my mom wasn't your typical single mom. She wasn't single, she was separated, first of all. Second of all, she wasn't like the single moms of today. She stayed with my dad. She had a bad marriage with my dad. My dad was an alcoholic, and she stayed with my dad probably 10 years longer than she should have, in my opinion. Okay, and I've always said this, and it's hard to say, it's hard to admit when it's your parents, but she probably should have left my dad 10 years before she did, in my opinion, from based on what I knew growing up as a really young boy and watching my family. Their marriage was not working probably my whole life. so that's not a typical experience. Now, I think in my generation, during that time, women were not as rogue as they are today. Women were not nearly as rogue. They weren't as slutty. They weren't as loose. They didn't have as bad attitude as they do today. It was not the same thing. Okay, so I think that women in that era, they tried to make it work out a little more. And yes, there were men in that era who were shitty, right? There was a lot of men who were shitty in that era. And my dad, unfortunately, being one of them, although his problem wasn't really that he was so shitty personally, his problem was that he was addicted to a substance. Okay, my dad wasn't necessarily that shitty of a guy. It's just he was an alcoholic, which isn't uncommon. So with that being said, I believe that because, obviously the statistics support this, but divorce was really high in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Okay, there was a lot of kids in my generation who were my peers who were products of divorce or products of separation, like I was. So therefore, ironically, I had a friend group with about 5 other kids in it, and we all kind of grew up together. We all kind of grew up in our little circle. We all met in middle school, and then our friendship continued on until high school, till the end of high school, when we all kind of went our separate ways, or some of us stayed around, but I left. I moved cities, and I just got out of touch with them, which happens. But there was about 5 kids, and all of them, 5 young men, strong young men, which is what we were. All of us came from broken homes. None of us, besides one who had both parents, who actually I was friends with before I met these guys, this one kid, but he wasn't really tight in the circle until a few years after high school. So that tight circle that met in middle school and went through all the way through high school of 5 kids, all had broken homes. I don't know if that's just a coincidence. I don't know if we gravitated towards each other because of that, but it just goes to show that being a kid in a single parent household is not uncommon, right? It's not uncommon. Now, 3 of those kids' parents are 3 of those kids live with their mom, and their mom struggled to find another guy. One of them, she was kind of going through guys. She was kind of rowdy. She was a little more like women of today, where sleeping around, having fun, drinking, right? She was probably, as far as that goes, as far as immorality is concerned, right? She was probably the worst. One of them had a stepdad who was a cool guy, and he's going to be part of the story, because I'm going to talk about that experience, how it affected my friend being raised by a stepdad. And he was a cool guy, but he was a stepdad, right? The other one's mom kind of stayed single a little bit, dated guys here and there, tried to find love, couldn't find it. She had issues, couldn't find a decent guy, because you're a single mom, your sexual market value, you're over 30, 35, your sexual market value plummets, right? As a female, you hit the wall, you're stressed out trying to raise your kids. You got to do what a man has to do. So you're stressed and tired all the time, because guess what? It's not easy being a man. So the ladies out there can thank feminism. You can go ahead and thank feminism for that, right? Feminism made you, now you got to go work as opposed to just raising kids. Now you got to raise your kids and work. Okay. So now you got all the stress and trouble. And this is why single moms are so desperate to find a guy, because it's a lot of work working, being the mom and the dad. And no, that doesn't make you a hero. It actually makes you an idiot, and it makes you a bad parent, because your kid is growing up without really having either the mother or the father. The kid is supposed to have a mother and a father, but when you have to play both roles, you're neither good as the mother or the father, because your power or your effectiveness at either role is seriously diminished. Because by the time you get done playing father, you're too tired to play mother, right? By the time you get done working, you're too tired and you can't do anything else but come home and, well, there's the food that I earned, eat it, have a good night, I'm going to bed because I'm tired, because I worked all day, right? You can't be a father or a mother. Can't be a father because you're not male, so you don't know how to raise a child, particularly a male child. You don't know how to do it because you're not male, so you don't know what to say. You raise effeminate boys. You raise daughters that are whacked out because they don't have any basis for what a real man is, right? It's a total loss. You're a failure. So anybody who says you're amazing, like you're just perpetuating the problem. You are making it, you are removing this stigma and normalizing something that shouldn't be normal. That should not be normal. That's sad. That's a fail. That's a loss. 90% of prison inmates come from single parent households. Period. Statistically, your kids are not going to have a good life. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying that, as humans, we beat the odds. It's what it is. But you're seriously putting a handicap on your kids by doing something like that, which is statistically and definitively why feminism is bullshit. Why this whole push and normalization for single mothers is bad for societies. Statistically, factually, demonstrably, it just is. Okay, so these were my friends, and you want to know what? All of them started doing drugs. All of them got into partying. All of them went down the wrong road. All of them. Even the kid who had, both parents, and I think it was because he started to associate with us, right? He started to associate with us, and then he went down the wrong road, right? Now, yes, just because you come from a single parent household does not mean you're going to go down the wrong road. And just because you come from a two-parent household does not mean you're going to go down the right road. Particularly in this culture that we live in that's promotes partying, promotes drug use, promotes promiscuity, right? All these things. No, it doesn't guarantee it. But you want to know what? You got a better bet. The odds are better. The odds are more in your favor if you come from a two-parent household. If you come from a two-parent household where the parents actually raise the kids with some morals, with some values, with some character. Okay, it's easy to get off track in today's world. Very easy. Oh, just go have sex. Oh, just go do this. Just go do drugs. It's not bad. Just go drink. Do this. Like, it's easy. I get it. But it's a lot easier when you don't have love in the family. Believe me. From a young age, I was basically raising myself from about age 12 to 13. My dad left. He skedaddled. He exited from the whole state. He left. He wasn't around. And when he was around, when I was growing up, he wasn't really a good example. But see, the real problem with single moms is this. Today's single moms. The real problem is this. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. That's the real problem. The real problem is women want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to chase bad boys. They want an alpha to have sex with, to get pregnant. And then they fall back when they hit the wall. When that time is over, they fall back on the beta. Then they fall back on the beta. All right? Okay, now I have my fun. Now I got my kid who's got good genetics from the alpha dad. But the alpha dad, because he's alpha, he's bad boy. He's not domesticated, working 9 to 5 guy. They don't want that when they're young, right? So then they realize, oh yeah, okay, well, he ain't shit. I need a man with money. So then they go find the dude, and this is the strategy. This is the female strategy. Get knocked up by the strong-gened alpha, the alpha who's got the strong genes, right? The bad boy who's in shape but doesn't have his shit together, doesn't have a good job. And then they go find the beta to raise their kid. This is the problem with single moms today. Okay, that's the problem. So, what did I learn from my stories, from my friends who had single parents? I learned that it's very easy to, not be independent, not have a plan for your future. Okay? A lot of them turned out okay. Like they're all right now. Of course, the one whose mom was the loosest, who she was out sleeping around, right? He's now a single dad, right? He's maintaining, and I appreciate that. I wish him the best, but he's a single dad. He hasn't settled down with a woman, a quality woman. 3 of them are actually in okay relationships. One of them had a kid. One of them was a single dad for a long time, and I think he's recently now getting into a relationship. He was messing around, partying for a long time. He had a kid that kind of slowed him down a little bit, and then and the mom just took off. She didn't want to raise the kid with him, so he had to raise the kid by himself, which he did. He had a decent job. He was always smart, but he was a partier, and so because of that, he met a loose woman and got her knocked up, and then he had to raise this kid. And recently he's gotten into a good relationship, I think, with a quality girl. He got lucky, but again, he's got a kid, so in effect, he's like a single dad, right? And a lot of the only options that single parents have is they got to find another single parent, because a lot of times, single people don't want to get into relationships with single parents, and you shouldn't, because you shouldn't want to raise another man's kid. You shouldn't want to raise another woman's kid. It's not natural. It's not normal. You shouldn't want that. Now, yes, everybody makes mistakes. Like, we make mistakes, but we have consequences for our mistakes. You do a certain action, you get a certain result. But see, this culture, this generation is so immoral and so backwards. They want to take away accountability. They want to take away responsibility. They want to take away consequences. You're a jerk if you say that, you should stay away from single moms. You're a jerk. You're a misogynist. Like, no, it's not natural to raise another man's kid. Now, the kid who had the dad, I will say this. The kid who had the dad, the kid who had the stepdad out of my group, the only one who had a steady stepdad, he turned out the best. Okay? Because yes, it's better to have a stepdad than no dad at all. It is better. Okay? It is. But again, it wasn't natural. It wasn't the most ideal scenario. It wasn't his dad. He was a stepdad. It wasn't his real dad. And this is why they're trying to normalize that, because they want to remove accountability. This is part of gynocentrism. They want to remove that accountability. Oh, you can go sleep around, girl. It's okay. You can go fulfill your lust. It's okay. If you get pregnant, some nice man will come along and raise your kid. Well, a lot of times they don't. A lot of times a man won't come along in that scenario, because we don't want to deal with it. I wouldn't. No self-respecting man wants to raise some other guy's kid. It's not cool. And if that's all we have to deal with, then we should just stay single. Sorry. Guess what? There's new draft picks every year, hitting 21, 22. As we get older, we have more power, we have more value as men. We can get younger women. And hopefully they won't just want us for our money. Right? But that's a whole nother ball game, right? The most ideal time to find love is between ages 18 and 24. That's when you should find love. Because you're not settled yet, you don't have a quality job yet, you don't have a good job yet, so you remove her hypergamy in that scenario, okay? And also, she's not loose. She's not loose. At least not that loose. Of course, women start having sex when they're 16, so by the time she hits 24, she could have a notch count in the several hundreds. You never know, but it's a lot better than 30 and 35 because women do a lot of fucking between age 20 and age 30. So at least if you marry her 20, 21, 22, she's not too bad. Like maybe her notch count is below 25 if you're lucky. I met a girl, one of my first girlfriends when I moved to Seattle. She was 18 and I was 24. And her notch count was 18. She was 18 and her notch count was 18. She wrote it in a journal, all the guys she slept with. She took notes. And when I asked her that and she told me the truth, it turned me off. I felt sick. I was like, ugh, 18? At 18? That's a lot of guys. But nowadays, I don't even think that's abnormal. I think that's probably normal. 2 years of fucking? 18 guys? Yeah, that's about right. That's probably average. She starts fucking at age 16. By the time she hits 18, she's got about 20 guys under her notch count. That seems about right. And that's sad. That's sad. And then we wonder why, pregnant at 18, why we got MTV shows about single moms at 18. Why do you think? Because they're fucking since they're 16. Think they're not going to get pregnant? Yeah, they are. So, man, okay, so, no, it's not good. No, definitely not good to be a single mom. And guys need self-respect. Don't raise some other man's kid. Don't raise some other man's kid. That ain't normal. That ain't manly. Raise your own genes. Raise your own progeny. Right? What do you want to work your whole life for? To raise up some other man's kid? Yeah, you're going to love him. Sure, you're going to love the kid. Sure, you're going to love the little girl. Sure. Because we have something in us as men that wants to raise kids. We want progeny. Which is why the whole men just want to fuck and leave women is bullshit. And in my generation, it affected my generation of women. They all thought, guys only want to have sex. No, we want love. We want to raise kids too. It's the truth. Feminism lied to you about us. Feminism lied to women about us. Feminism lied. It made us the boogie monster. Feminism made us the bad guy. Oh, men are bad. All they want to do is have sex with you. Such a lie. So when we meet a single mom, so when we, get in a relationship with a single mom, sure, we want to love the kid. We want to raise the kid right. But guess what? That's not our kid. That's not our kid. Okay? So it's not your kid, man. That's not your child. What are you doing raising another man's kid? That isn't right, bro. Okay? And here's what I think it is. I think it's low self-esteem and a scarcity mindset. You got a scarcity mindset and you got low self-esteem. You don't think you can get anyone else. Okay? I don't care how cute she is. I don't care how nice she is. Because believe me, she'll put on a good game and she'll treat you like a king. Yeah, you're the guy who's playing cleanup. You're the guy who's raising her bastard. You're the guy who's raising her little fatherless child. She's going to treat you like a king. She's going to suck your dick, suck your balls every night. She's going to treat you like a king. Because you are her cleanup crew. You're her beta bucks. You're her new ATM. And I don't care if she even works. She wants your income. She wants your help. I guarantee no single mom is looking for a bummy dude with no job. I guarantee no single mom is looking for a guy who works at Costco or works at 7-Eleven. Guarantee she's looking for a dude who's got a mortgage. She ain't. No, she's thinking financial. She's thinking parental and financial. She's thinking, help me with the duties to raise my kid and help me with the finances. And in exchange for that, I'm going to give you a relationship. I'm going to give you sex. I'm going to suck your balls. I'm going to swallow your cum. I'm going to cuddle with you at night. I'm going to be intimate with you. That's what she's going to do. This is the agenda. Single moms have agendas. She's not looking for love. Love. She's looking for a good situation. She's looking for a quote unquote quality man who's going to help foot the bill, who's going to help with the responsibilities around the house, who's going to help raising her kids. Because you want to know what? It's stressful as fuck. It's stressful as fuck raising a single kid. Okay? Whenever I've met single moms, they always got baggage. They always got baggage. Always. Whether they're closet sluts, they can't stop cheating, they got bad attitudes, they're toxic. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of all that is they're desperate. They're desperate. And guess what they're doing? They're using sex to keep a man around. Oh, she's going to suck your dick like no other. Single mom, she's going to fucking do anything. Oh, I've seen it, man. She wants you to stay. She wants you to stick around. She's going to give you great eye contact while she's deep throating you. She's going to go all out to keep you to keep you around, because guys don't want to raise a single mom. We don't want to get in a relationship with a single mom. We don't want to raise no kid that ain't ours. Most of us, if we have self-respect, and you should have self-respect. You shouldn't want to raise another man's kid. These women, these feminists today, these women today, oh, you're a piece of shit if you wouldn't date a single mom. You're a misogynist if you wouldn't date a single mom. Like, no, we just have self-respect. Because it's not natural.